Little Rock ranks number 6 in cities with the most student loan debt, with a median balance of $21,031. This, according to a new LendingTree study.
That doesn't sound quite legitimate to me.
Tony Williams is the director of the Arkansas Student Loan Authority, a division of the Arkansas Development Finance Authority.
Arkansas overall is 31st in the country in average student loan debt for graduates. So for Little Rock to be 6 is a little questionable, but we don't know exactly where they receive all their data.
But for the 44 million Americans leaving college with student loan debt, the numbers aren't hard to imagine.
There's so much out there. It's very confusing.
I think that it's what came after and the payback process that has just been a nightmare. They make it impossible to pay back.
Even when you catch all the breaks, it's still difficult because the system demands so much of you and the interest rates are so high, the stakes are so high, and at some point something's got to give.
The 3 women I spoke with all used scholarships and other means to pay for their undergrad educations, but wound up with anywhere from $8,000 to nearly $100,000 in student loan debt after getting graduate degrees.
Paying it off entry-level salary, you're paying the minimums because you don't know what else you're going to need money for in life.
The only loans available to me as a graduate student were all unsubsidized, meaning that while I was in school, before I even had a job or any chance of paying back the loans, interest was already accruing.
Each of the 3 say they knew the debt would be with them for years after graduation, but things like mandatory deferments and their loans being bought and sold threw them for a loop.
I got everything I asked for very quickly at a pretty decent interest rate. However, later on, that increases. They sell your loan to somebody else. They sell your loan to somebody else. And the more you try to negotiate it, you're continuously fighting to keep your interest rate low, which becomes more and more difficult.
I think that the public service loan forgiveness and how it's being handled is pretty scammy.
Joanna Thomas is a professor at the University of Arkansas. She got her doctorate planning to apply for public service loan forgiveness, a program that forgives debt of public servants after 120 payments.
They make you take a 6-month deferment right after you graduate, so you're not even allowed to start repaying your loans for 6 months. And then once you start, it was probably about 2 years before we could actually get in the program, before we could find somebody to say, yes, you're eligible, yes, we have a program, yes, this is the program, because nobody knew.
She says her loan has been bought and sold so many times, she's only been able to make 4 years worth of payments in the last 7 years.
A lot of people make life decisions based on this and thinking that their loans will be discharged in 120 months, and so you plan kids around that, you plan housing around that, and car payments and daycare.
Hoping to get out from under debt, Kate Fletcher, an attorney, and her husband have reorganized their entire financial plan to pay off student loans faster.
There's always choices that are going to have to be made when you take out student loans, and sometimes it's really the lesser of 2 evils.
You know, eventually you will have to pay.
Williams says his office works with students and graduates each year to make sure they're getting a fair shake at student loans. His advice, look for employers that offer student loan forgiveness. Parents, invest in an Arkansas 529 plan at your child's birth to begin saving. And finally, don't put it off.
Sometimes we just have to tell students it's time to write a check, and the federal government will not forget that you owe this debt.